Welcome back to. Sorry, it's a really bad intro. It's just so bad. I've got to laugh. Welcome back to the channel and another edition of the Spurs Chat podcast, where today we'll be talking about AZ Alkmaar 1, Tottenham Hotspur 0. Another defeat. That's 18 this season, I think, if my memory serves. Look, we're live on YouTube, Twitch, X, and Facebook, so please do get involved and let us know how you're feeling at the moment as the Spurs fan. We're pleased to say we are the most watched Spurs YouTube channel in the world. Certainly in England. Certainly in England. So let's start on a high. And some good news, actually. We have been nominated for another award, a short list, if you will, the FIVO Sport Industry Awards 2025. It's a big one, and we've been nominated for the Best Sport Podcast. So more on this a bit later on. We've only found out today, so it's amazing just to be nominated for that. So we're all dead chuffed with that, I can tell you. But that's where the good news ends, I'm afraid. I think we've got to get into this. So we'll be talking today, of course, 1-0 to AZ. The only goal in the game was a Lucas Bergvall own goal on 18 minutes. Oh dear, the match facts and stats. Let's have a look. 38.7% possession for AZ, just over 61 for Tottenham. Shots 12 for AZ and 7 for Spurs. On target 5 for AZ and 1 for Tottenham. And that came in the 88th, 89th minute, I believe. We had to wait for that. Joy. Total touches inside the box, AZ 29, Spurs 12. 1 goalkeeper save from AZ, 3 from Vicario. 14 fouls for RZ, RZ, and 12 fouls for Tottenham. 7 corners to AZ and 2 to Tottenham. Now to dissect what we just witnessed, I have 3 very special guests with me on the show tonight. I've got Ricky J. Norwood back with us. Rick, how are you?
I'm all right, Tonight is a weird one. We're going to jump in. I know we're going to jump in. First and foremost, always good to be on with you, beautiful gentlemen. Si, Melvyn, Craig, lovely to be on with you and all you viewers and listeners around the world, sending you all big love. Tonight feels like it's going to be one of those cathartic ones where it feels like a therapy session where we all sit here and lay it all out, but end up having a giggle at the end. So fans listening, watching, roll with us with this one, because the first jokes of the night just hit me and I can't help but giggle. Craig's intro, did anybody, I can't help it, right? You guys know I'm an actor by trade, right? So my ears hear the character and I hear the way that Craig was saying his intro. It was through, depressed breath, everything. Right, so we had it's all here. Do you know what I mean? You can hear what a stress and a strain it is to do the podcast when you have a performance like that, when it hits you in the gut and you got to pick yourselves up and try and say something. Even the stats were killing Craig, and that was cracking me up. Oh my goodness, what is going on, Tom? Big love sending out to you as well. Hey, listen, it was another night, another cup game, another night where we didn't show up. It was one of the poorest games that I've seen in a really long time. I was absolutely fuming the whole game. I was fuming the whole game. What gets me is that it doesn't really matter about manager or squad or personnel or anything. We tend to, Spurs, that is, Tottenham Hotspur, we tend to get to places where, the tie is in our hand or the advantage is with us and it's up to us to go and take it. Or we can go and, take control of a cup tie. And the amount of times that we've turned up and I don't, it's like we had a whole cloned team out there that were just scared and playing within themselves and had no guts, had no glory about them. And after a week's worth of rest and training and with all the talk in the press saying that these are the biggest games, yada, 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 we know what is the biggest game for us fans out there as well, not just the club. So after all that talk, and after, you know, the rest, the recuperation, some of the players coming back as well, you know, I was a fan that was very optimistic, ready to go. Do you know what I mean? I was happy we didn't have a game on the weekend so that we had a clear run in. And to turn up with a performance like that was absolutely infuriating, mate. It was nowhere near what we consider what Ange ball is. It was passive. It was scared. Like I say, there was no guts within it. There was no bravery within it. There was no risk within it. You know, there was a lot of huff and puff and taking the ball and just circling it around and just holding on to it and waiting for an inevitable mistake from ourselves that kick us in the backside, and then they can have a counter. AZ, for however talented they are, and they're a well-drilled side as well, I don't fear them in the least, and I don't understand why any of those players feared that team. They're not Man City. They're not the best of their league going in right now. Very talented side, but not the best of their. I don't understand where the scaredness, where the scarceness, where the kind of, you know, internal play came from, all the way up until 85 minutes, and then suddenly we want to start playing, mate. So it was a night full of roller coasters, mate. Night full of roller coasters for me. But ultimately, that was one of the worst games I've seen under Ange, and that was a terrible performance for the importance of what this result is, what this game is, what this competition means to us as fans, to us as the club, and to those players going forward. Some of these players are going to come out and talk about Champions League and talk about winning stuff. This is the opportunity. Show us what you're about. I don't know why all of them went into their shells. I don't know whether this is just a Spurs thing. Is this our curse? Is this part of the Spurs curse? I just don't know, bro, because we've got to these places so many times before, and this happens. We just don't show up. We don't do the good things. We forget all of the good things. We forget all of the things that we've done within the league or within the cup. We just forget it, and we go to I don't want to concede. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. You know, bless Bergvall. It was an unfortunate own goal, came off of his shin, but the response from him was stellar. You know, his head did drop for a second, but not for too long. He got back up and he tried to make something happen. But overall, mate, it was a really disappointing night tonight, and there are no real excuses I can give him.
Thanks, Rick. I only asked you how you were.
I know, but sometimes you've got to get out. I've been talking on this for an hour.
I know, mate. I know. Melvyn, how are you? You might as well come on. What do you make of that game? What do you take from that? Any positives at all?
Yeah, I have some positives, not related to football, but I'll tell you in a minute. Yeah, so this morning, my brother had a baby boy, and he was born 9:15 a.m. So I'm just gonna send a little message to him. You know, Johnny, his name. What I want to say when I show him this video, you know, years from now, because he's gonna be a Tottenham fan. I already bought him his first Tottenham kit. You know, hopefully the channel will probably be in the millions. You know, we'll have 10 million subscribers by then. You know, Ricky Norwood might have, you know, his first Oscar. You never know. Hopefully Tottenham win a trophy by then, and which is this is the only positive thing I can pull out of today. So is you know the birth of my nephew. So
that's good news, Melvyn. That's good. That's good.
Yeah. Other than that, the guy is gonna, you know, it's painful sometimes being a Tottenham fan because, you know, games like today, you go in thinking the players are rested. You know, they're gonna go all blazing out into, you know, a European night, and we play like that. I mean, I don't understand why I felt the tactics were wrong, the mentality was wrong. I mean, they should have been fresh. Why did we? It seemed like it was a, you know, it seemed like Stellini was on the bench. You know, Conte was on the bench. It was like one of those tactics, one of those games. And my dad said, I've never seen us play so bad. I said, what do you mean? We've seen this under Jose. We've seen this under Conte. This is the same type of performance where we came in, done absolutely nothing, a stupid goal, which we concede time and time again. And for the life of me, I can't understand why we keep doing this to ourselves. Where is Ange ball gone? Seriously, where is it gone?
Yeah.
Where was the speed? Where was the pressing? Our only good thing this season is when we pressed high. When we pressed, we had Udogi there, Spence there. We had Bergvall, Madison, and Bentancur who can press. We have Tell, who's not the best of pressers. Johnson is fast. Son can press on his day. Where was Ange ball? I mean, they had 8 days rest. I don't understand. Where's Ange ball gone? What's the idea? Was the idea, not to concede at all and then go, to the lane on a 0-0? Was that the plan? Because if that was the plan, maybe, it was unlucky with the goal. He didn't account for Bergvall to put it in his own net. And, for AZ, they, sometimes football goes your way and you score. This is football. But to put the game at risk, because to play them now, they're going to come back to our place, and we're going to have to. They're going to low block us again, and we don't have the creative power or the creative players to unlock that tight defense. I mean, we beat them when we played them, and it was a tight 1-0. And they were unlucky to have a man sent off early. So it's naivety from Ange. I don't understand what he's doing. The players showed their inexperience. I mean, not many players, did anything. I'm really disappointed with Madison, to be honest. Even Son, because I hold them. I judge them, I think, a bit higher and harshly than the other players because I expect more from them. It's a strange game to judge, a strange game to talk about because we're not out of the cup yet. And there's a possibility, we do to AZ what Liverpool did to us when we went to Anfield. It's fully possible, but to put the game at risk, and not try to win it, like Arsenal did. I mean, look at them. They went, they showed their dominance. They showed that they can win the game early, put it to bed. I don't understand where Ange ball has gone. This mentality, we don't stop. I was saying that to myself. Where's that motto gone? We don't stop. We don't stop. It's like, listen, I'm all for Ange and I back the manager and I've defended him many, 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 many times. And I think I'm running out of ways to defend him because I'm all for this project youth, but at least have a go. Don't just sit there and I was thinking in the second half, why are we so deep? Why aren't we doing to them what they are doing to us? They were putting us under pressure. They were not letting our back line have a second with the ball. They pressed Danso, they pressed Archie Gray, they pressed Udogi and Spence. Why didn't we do that to them? I don't understand. Why? Because they're not the level. They can't compete physically, I think, with the Premier League. They're not as fast as us. I just don't understand why we didn't do that to them. So, for me, today is on Ange. Are the players good enough? Maybe, maybe not. There's cases for both. But for me, this is totally on Ange. And unless we win the next game, unless we win the home game, this will be on him. And this can be a sackable offence for me. It's something that he can get sacked because the Europa League is the easiest way for us to get into the Champions League. The easiest way to fast track our project. It will make a world of difference if we get Champions League football. The signings will be better. We'll hold Romero, a player who I really want to keep. So there's lots of good things to come if we win the Europa League. Obviously, we end the trophy drought, which is something every single Spurs fan wants to get rid of. And it's a difficult one to talk about and to take. We'll see. I'm sure we're gonna go through the game match instant by instant, but there's Bournemouth still. I hate these kind of games because they sit on your stomach for the whole week until we put it right.
Yeah. Si, what are your thoughts on the game? Oh, how are you, by the way? Sorry, I
Well,
haven't even asked.
I'm good, and I'm honoured to be on with Ricky and Melvyn. I've seen them for a long time on the show, so it's good to share the screen with them. So for me, that's a joy. I was listening to what Melvyn said about his little nephew, and I'm sure that's child abuse, signing him up to Spurs at such a young age and subjecting him to that for a lifetime. I'd be very careful with that, mate.
It's character building.
Yeah, that's for sure. I'm okay. I think I can only take what Ange took from the game as well. To only come away from that 1-0 down, quite frankly, was the best result we could get out of it. So we could take a little positive from that. Vicario was good as ever. The rest of them don't really want to talk about. Bergvall came back into the game after his mistake. But that's about it. And say the best you can take out of it is we're only 1-0 down. It could have been worse. That's for sure. And for me, I've been going on and on and on about the lack of leaders in that team. The only person with any passion and, pride, it looked to me out there, is Vicario again. And you would get more passion and energy on this show than the Spurs players put on the pitch. And I just think that, that's a shocking part for me. So, okay, go and have a go, really have a go at them. And if you come off the pitch and you've lost, 3-2, 2-1, but you've actually had a go, I can take that. But that was just passive. I mean, there's quicker passes in Mastermind than there was on that pitch today. And also, when you look at how passive the players were, I just can't believe for 1 minute that Ange Postecoglou has said to them, go out there, just play passively, lads. He doesn't do that. That's not his style of football. So there's one of two things happening. Either the players are incapable of playing the way he wants them to play, or that they're so confused with what he's asking them to do, they can't cope with it that way around. Right? Either way, for me, it's not good enough. And the lack of leadership is going to kill us all the way through until we resolve it. We need, so I think the 3 minutes has gone, Craig. We need a bastard at number 6 for starters, a real breaker. And it's an embarrassment that, in my opinion, the best player on the pitch there today was a 34-year-old Dutchman who sat in as number 6, broke everything up that we did going forward, and taught all of the other players in midfield how to play. If I was one of them Spurs midfielders, I would be embarrassed to even show my face. That's where I am with it. So I think it's not good enough.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think Vicario and possibly Spence are the only ones that come out of tonight with any form of credibility. I thought Vicario was sensational, made a couple of really good saves in the game. It just goes to show for me that how important he is to us, and so happy to have him back in the team. Before we move on to the match incidents, let's hear from Ange.
Thanks for joining us, Ange. Tough night, that one.
Yeah, no, it wasn't good. Not a great result. Actually, the result was probably the best thing out of it, and that we were still very much in the tie. But yeah, nowhere near the level we needed to be. A disappointing night overall.
Can you put your finger on why?
Look, it's hard to say at the moment, but yeah, we just didn't get the grips of the game at all. It was a tricky surface. We knew that from yesterday, but we just didn't handle it well, and we just really struggled with any sort of intent. Weren't aggressive with the ball, weren't aggressive without the ball, and we just allowed the opposition to sort of play the game on their terms.
You knew what was coming here, didn't you? And I mean, AZ just played to their strengths, really, didn't they?
Yeah, but you expect that. Look, every away game in Europe's tricky, and we understood that. We kind of prepared the players for that, but fair to say we didn't handle it.
And of course, we've got to talk about an injury again. Dominic looked like it was just a bang. I mean, is that what you're seeing?
At this stage, yeah, I've seen him, but it looked like it was just a knock. So hopefully, nothing too serious.
Let's hope so. Thanks, Ange.
Rick, what do you make of Ange's comments there? I mean, he blamed the pitch to a degree. Are these just excuses, or what did you make of that?
I think he's exacerbated, mate. I think he's as confused as we are sitting here now at that performance, at the attitude, at the approach to that game, all of the things that they worked on during the week. I'm with Sai in the sense that I don't believe for a second that that's what they've been working on. I don't believe for a second that they've said sit back, hold on. I remember. The last time I was this infuriated about a cup game, I think it was the AC Milan game. Melvyn, you was talking about Conte time. And, what really done my nut in, both home and away, but what really done my nut in is that, again, it was a whole squad before that, to get into Champions League. With Conte, we went on that great run towards the end of the season. We get into Champions League. We start the season so. But we get to this AC Milan game, and they didn't have a shot on target. They didn't look like they wanted to win. I remember that was the emergence of Sarr, and there was another player. I want to say Skip, maybe.
It was, yeah.
We was looking at youngsters again that were the spark, or that wanted to change the game, or that wanted to do something and go and win it. And we had good players in that side at that point. And we just didn't do it. We just froze home and away. I was infuriated after all of that talk. Yeah, championship. And then we get there and do nothing. Do absolutely nothing. And that's what it felt like today. We've spoken about this Europa League. We've spoken about what the cup does for us, just the cup itself. And then we've spoken about what the consequences of that Champions League going, like qualifying for, and what it does for the club. Where was this by the play? I don't. You know what, tonight, you speak about leadership, and there were a couple of senior players on there, but Bentancur was on there, Maddison was on there, Sonny was on there, and to an extent Vicario, right? I just didn't see it. And I love Sonny to bits. I love him to bits, and that doesn't mean that I won't critique him. I won't put any hate on him. I don't think he deserves any hate whatsoever, but that doesn't mean I won't critique him. And, and I know Sonny gets it a lot, but he is now our captain as well. There is a responsibility on his shoulders. And what we needed was a proper Sonny Stella captain's performance tonight, whether he's shouting and rollicking at the side to wake up and let's go, or whether he's showing confidence on the ball and going to make something happen. Just nothing really happened. Nothing fell. There was no drive, and we needed Sonny to be captain fantastic tonight. And unfortunately, he wasn't either. The front three were redundant. Our midfield, for flashes of good moments, and all three of them, okay, Bergvall with own goal, but then a bit of a response, but still, it wasn't a stellar performance from him. Bentancur at times is almost our Højbjerg in that sense of, not with the same attributes, but in the sense of the one with experience, the one that can calm it down, the one that you can give it to in trouble, and he'll go all right and fine, and he'll fight it out. And then you got Madders there, who is the lock picker, and everything was just disjointed. And if we can't, this is basic fundamentals. If you can't get the ball from defense through midfield to your forward players, then how are we going to do anything? It was just
so disjointed, Rick, wasn't it? It was nothing going right tonight.
So I think Ange is just exacerbated, bro. I don't believe that he asked him to do that. And I would have loved changes to happen earlier, especially when I saw that bench, because I thought that bench was like something to be excited about. I was like, wow, we've actually got a bench. We've actually got, personnel on there that can come on and change something and change the course or change the direction of the game. And it was almost like a false flag, because nobody came on really until, 65, 70 minutes. And I'm like, come on. So I think he was exacerbated, bro. We've still got players coming back off of this injury, and they're still working their way in. And yes, match fitness and stuff like that. But the attitude was the biggest shocker to me from the players themselves, bro. For all the talk, for all of our history of hearing talk, there wasn't no action tonight. And yes, they've got a chance to turn it around, and they've got a chance to show us that this was a really bad day, and this was a bad day at the office, and that's all it was. You know, we'll laugh about it because the way that we're going to destroy them at Tottenham, you know, it's going to put this in the background. But they've got to do it. They've got to wake up. Sonny's spoken today. I don't know if you've seen Sonny's interview afterwards. And he's like, yeah, it's a big wake-up call. Listen, Sonny, I love you, bruv. But there's been 101 wake-up calls this season. If you lot are not awake right now, somebody needs to call the doctor because you've been sleeping for way too long. Do you know what I mean? My nan used to say, if the sun passes your navel, then you've slept too long. Do you know what I mean? And these lot have slept way too long. They need to wake up, man, because what are you talking about wake up call? Don't tell me about wake up call.
Let's there's a good lead into hearing from our captain, Heung-min Son, Rick. So let's hear from Sonny.
Okay, Sonny, disappointing night. Any particular reason why, do you think?
No, I think we gotta be strong in the mentality and every aspect. I think this competition is one of the biggest competition that we want to achieve something, and including me. I think we don't performing well, and you get punished, you know, especially away from home. Europa League is always tough, so yeah, I think it has to be a big wake up call.
Manager said that we just didn't really get to grips with it tonight. I take it you agree with that?
Yeah, I think we gotta have to move on. You know, it's nothing. It's already past this game, and it was basically very poor. And luckily, we have another chance to playing at home, and we can turn around again in a positive way. So yeah, just make sure everybody's. It's too early to let head down and give up. So we have massive chance next week. So we gotta just be ready and just try to turn around.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, look, that's the warning tonight, isn't it? Now we've got, you know, we can put it right, can't we?
Look, I mean, you should be lucky that we have another chance and next Thursday. So, yeah, as I said before the interview, it's a big wake up call, and everybody should take really care about it. Every opponent you play, I think you have to respect massively, because it's hard competition. You know, everybody wants to win. So look, everybody can talk who is favor, but at the end of the day, and who is win is most important thing. So I think we have to respect the others, and we have to give them huge respect to win the game, and because it's win the game is never guaranteed. So we have to earn it and make it hard for ourselves, and we can't make it comfortable every single time. So we have to, in the game, we have to make also some uncomfortable stuff.
Melvyn, as Ricky said, and as Sonny said there, it's a wake-up call. There have been so many moments of wake-up calls, though, hasn't there? You'd think they'd be awake by now.
Yeah. With Sonny, right? I just think the armband's too heavy on him. I just think he's trying to be this leader. He's trying to be, you know, he's trying to be the one to get us the win, to get us into the next round. But I just think the armband is weighing him down. He's not a captain for me. I don't know what's wrong with him, to be honest. Like, he had a chance in the first half where the ball falls to him on the outside of the box, and he used to just curl those into the top corner. You know, remember when he done it against Leicester when Conte benched him, and then brought him on the second half, and Sonny, I think, scored a brace or potentially a hat-trick, something like that. And I just think it's not the same Heung-min Son. He's not scored any goals like the old Heung-min Son, like he used to curl from the outside of the box. His shooting is not the same. At least get it on target. You know what I mean? Get it on target. When I I'm going to mention it. I play a bit of football, and sometimes when I keep shooting and I keep missing, I say to myself, get the next one on target. At least test the keeper. Do something different. Don't keep doing the exact same thing, going for the exact same shot. Like look, Kulusevski. Kulusevski changes it from time to time.
We
Shoots
missed
low,
him today,
shoots
didn't
high. Yeah, we did, but it's not an excuse anymore. Come on, there was enough quality on there to beat AZ, or at least to challenge them to have more than one shot on target. With Tell, he's still a 19-year-old. I don't understand why he didn't play Scarlett more often. Not just today, just more often. I hate this idea of playing players out of position just to have them on the pitch. I mean, England do that, and it shows you because they never win anything. They want to ram in as many names as they can, but they play them out of position. So, but just to have them on the pitch.
Melvyn,
I mean,
that's a good actually lead in there, because let's have a look at the lineups. The Spurs lineup: Vicario, Spence, Gray, Danzo, Doggy, Bergvall, Bentancur, Maddison, Johnson, Tell, and Son. And obviously our bench, which is on there, was a lot stronger than it has been. What did you make of that lineup, Melvyn? Were you going on from what you were saying there? Do you think Mikey Moore should have been given a run tonight?
potentially. I mean, sitting from here from home, I'm not going to tell you better than Ange what to do, but at least I felt Scarlett would have gave more than Tell. A bit more physical. I think he's maybe a bit more match fit than Tell. I know we're putting our eggs on a 19-year-old that came from Bayern Munich, and to be honest, he didn't do much. I know he didn't lose the ball. I think I looked at his stats, and he had 100% passing rate or success rate, which is okay. He didn't lose the ball, unlike Pedro Porro when he came on. But I just feel Ange is reluctant to play him for some reason, and we need to play. We needed someone to be a focal point, like Solanke does when he came on. And I felt Scarlett would have offered us more than Tell. I also thought he could have played maybe 4-4-2. I mean, change it up a bit. I mean, Maddison was useless in the middle, so might as well have two targets up top and hit the ball long. Try something different. I mean, it was clear it wasn't going to work, and we weren't going to score. Even if we played for another fucking 45 minutes, we weren't going to score. I just feel there were things he could have done to change the game. And at the same time, I felt he didn't want to risk conceding a second rather than going for the opportunity to score a goal. I felt we were we low blocked them. Wasn't even a mid block. It was a low block. This was a low block. This was like Jose was in charge. We were camped in our half, and Danzo and Gray weren't pressing up top. They just weren't. It was weird because it wasn't our philosophy, and I don't even know at this point in time what our philosophy is, because I haven't seen it in a long time. And I am one of the guys who's historically backed Postecoglou, but Ange needs to. I hate to say it, adapt or learn or change something. You cannot keep doing the same thing expecting a different outcome. And also one last thing, I feel our current squad, the level is just not very high. I was thinking earlier, some of the fringe players we've had in the past. Lucas Moura would get into the squad. Eric Lamela would get into the squad. Victor Wanyama would get into the squad. I would kill for a Musa Sissoko. And these weren't even our best players in the last 5-10 years. And Andros Townsend would get into the squad. And we sold most of these players because we outgrew them. So many players we've had in the last few years would get into the squad. The level at the moment is not very high. I know we're playing with 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, and the only real good players, in my opinion, there's 1, 2, 3 of them. Kulusevski's one, Romero is one. I think Romero will make a difference. I think Vicario is outstanding. I love Vicario, but the rest I think are average. Most of the 18-year-olds we're happy with because they're 18, and for their age they're showing very, very, very high potential. But they're nothing special to win the Europa League. To win the Europa League, you have to have strength, you have to have resilience, you have to know, you have to be intelligent, you have to have high football IQ. You need to know, not to do silly things. I felt Bergvall was a bit rash to do that in the box as well. I mean, it shows a bit of naivety, a bit of inexperience. It felt something that was, he tried to lash out at the ball in the box. You don't do those kind of things when you're playing Europa League football, when you're playing against, you just don't do that kind of stuff. You try. I know he's young, and from these mistakes he will learn and we'll see improvement, because you need experience. You need game match experience to improve. So he will improve, but it seems that he must make the mistakes. Sadly, we have to go through this phase where we have to see these players make these mistakes to learn from them, and we have to get through this part, which is unfortunate, because I really wanted us to go far in this competition.
Yeah, can't disagree with a lot of what you said there, Melvyn. Melvyn mentioned Tell there. What have you made of Tell so far, and what did you make of him tonight?
Well, we've seen glimpses of him, some stuff that was good in the first couple of games. I think, I've heard everybody say Bayern got rid of him for a reason, or he's weak, somebody said tonight, and I think that's it. With a young lad coming to a new league, 5-6 games in, you can't judge him. The problem is deeper than that, is that we shouldn't have a squad where we need or expect a 19-year-old to come along, hit the ground running for us and change everything. That just shows a bigger issue than Tell. And to be fair to Tell, like I say, the goal he scored against Villa was good. There's been glimpses. He definitely, in my opinion, works hard. But, he's acclimatising to a new country, a new league, new set of players. And for me, it's the same with Danso. Danso's had a few good games. He had not such a good game today. But again, he's acclimatising with the players. We don't have the consistency of lineup. Those guys, Danso and Gray aside, around them, and if you look at even what happens in the game today, we got a left back playing at left back to start off with, and we end up with a right back playing at left back. It's just you're mixing things up in the back line, which I've heard people again tonight say, I've seen it in the comments there, that Arsenal beat their league leaders 7-1, etc. last night. But look at Arsenal. The back four, you can name it. Liverpool last night, you can name their back four. Our back four is not our best back four. And also, we go to an Ipswich game where Gray and Danso change round. So whether it's Danso coming in, Tell coming in, yes, they will perform to a level, but they're never going to be, as competent as a Solanke, who had 20 odd games to bed himself in the season before he got injured, so on and so forth. So I think to judge Tell too harshly, in my opinion, is unfair. What I would say, though, is would I expect any Premier League European footballer to be able to control the ball so as it sticks a bit better? Yes, I would. But again, I want to go back to the thing that Ange said about the pitch and the excuses with Sonny. I don't like the excuses anyway. That's just a load of bunkum. But how comes their players didn't have the same issues that ours did? Was it they playing on a different pitch to the one we were on? I don't think they were. And, it's just looking for excuses by Sonny particularly. Ange doesn't. He just says we weren't good enough. Well, yeah, we know that. But again, the question will always come from the fans. What are you doing about that? And, you know, he obviously doesn't fancy Basuma anymore. And for me, if you've got Van der Ven and Romero on the bench, why not for the last 20 minutes put one of them on, move Gray into number 6, push Bergvall on, do something that changes it significantly. Don't just sit back and passively let something happen. I mean, for me, Archie Gray is the heir apparent number 6, isn't he? He's comfortable on the ball. The lad can tackle. He's good in the air. He would be the bastard number 6 that we need. And, you know, again, people in the comments said Ange doesn't want a number 6. Well, he probably does, but he just wants the right player there, a player that can play as well. And going back to your point, Craig, you were spot on. Bentancur, Maddison and Son, particularly today, leadership, not enough, not good enough, boys. Just not good enough. You dress it up whichever way you want. It isn't good enough. And, you know, I go back to, I don't you know, obviously my age, the 1984 UEFA Cup final, we were struggling in that second leg, 1-0 down, and Graham Roberts just took the ball, the game by the scruff of the neck, took the ball, went through the middle, equalised it, and he showed leadership. He dragged the team to a draw in, you know, over the game, and then we won it on penalties. That's leadership for me. That's grabbing the game by the scruff of the neck and having a positive impact on it. Didn't have it again tonight. And what's frustrating me as a Spurs fan is that it's almost every other game we all say this, don't we? It's not good enough. Where are the leaders? So, you know, we've either got to sort this out, like I said, and chop out the players that we don't think are good enough and get some leaders in there. And I still go back to the point, without leaders, you could put Pep Guardiola in charge of that team. I don't think it would be much better in terms of leadership because they're not those type of people. Again, big is, you know, and someone else has said, you know, our midfield is weaker without Kulu. It just goes to show you how good he's been this season because he's been our only spark of creativity.
And that's it, Si, though, isn't it? For me, it's in the past we've always had a game changer, a player you can look to, the players can look to change the game. But other than Kulu, and you know, Kulu's done brilliantly this season. There's some games he hasn't turned up in, but on the whole, he's been pretty good.
Yeah,
there's just nobody out there tonight that I looked at and thought, right, come on, take the ball by the horns and by the scruff of the neck, and you know, push the team on. You're right. There's just no leaders, and we've said it. Rick, you've been in enough podcasts with me. We've said that time and time again, haven't we? That there's no leaders out there, and it's just it's sad to see. But look, we better get into the match incidents because we've been talking for nearly 45 minutes and we haven't even started on the game. So, not that there was a lot to talk about with Tottenham, really. In essence, I mean, the first 10 minutes, not much happened as far as Tottenham are concerned. AZ had 2 half chances, one falling to her ex-lad Troy Parrott, who I thought was pretty good tonight. Troy Parrott, he did trouble our defenders all evening. I wrote here, Spurs not really making any inroads, and that was right up to the 18th minute, Rick, when we conceded the goal. Talk us through what happened here with the goal from the own goal from Bergvall.
I mean, it came from, again, us not starting the game right, and you know, us being very kind of second gear about it. You know, ours that are at home, it was a corner by Cooper Miners, I think it was, and he whipped in a great cross, to be fair. Even when I saw it, there was an angle on TV when he took it, and I was like, that's a great cross. And then a header at the back post that put it back into the box. And as Bergvall's trying to hook it away with his left foot, it hits his shin, and the spin on the ball takes it over the keeper and puts it into the net, conceding the own goal. Again,
was it rash, Rick, by Bergvall, or just bad luck?
I personally, I think it was bad luck. But also, even if it was rash, a youngster are going to have those moments. Do you know what I mean? You don't know what you're going to do in those moments until you're in those moments. And I know he's played football before. It's not like he only started playing football at 18. But, you know, when you're in these pressurized situations, you don't know what you're going to do. So what was more pleasing is what I said, it was his reaction to it. You know, he was devastated about conceding that own goal, but then he was head up and he was like, all right, and cool. Let me try. It's just, you know, Saturday was talking about leaders as well. And it's like, you know, leaders, you can buy a leader, but they're mostly made. Do you know what I mean? They're made with, and they're made in situations and pressurized situations. And tonight was one of those. And, you know, there's an opportunity for somebody to stand up and to lead that team. And it was not great to see that nobody did, really, in those incidences. You know, not only our seniors, but even some of the youngsters.
It was good to see Vicario though, Rick. Afterwards, he really got hold of Bergvall straight away, didn't he? And I was surprised, Sonny, and I mean they may well have done it. It was off camera, but Vicario was the one sort of consoling Bergvall and geeing him up, wasn't he?
Well, he's almost, and especially since he's been back, he's the one that's taken up the most visible kind of leadership role. He's been like that the whole time. You know, he congratulates Danzo. You know, if he makes a good tackle. He picks them up when they fall. He's always shouting. He's always organizing. He's encouraging. You know, and that's what you want from a captain stroke a leader out there. So it's great to see that he is there. It's tough because it's a goalkeeper. You know, I think a lot of us would prefer our captains in the middle of the park, whether that be centre back or midfield, or you know, somewhere where you can see the whole game and you can have an impact and kind of your impact on your own game can help the game in itself, and that can be considered as leadership. So it's tough that Vicario is so far back and he's in the goal, but at least that was very positive to see. You know, it was positive to see. There were positive moments, but it was just that we was very, very scared. That first half was one of the poorest that I'd seen, Craig. You know, conceding that, some of the chances that we conceded, that I know you're going to jump onto it, but you know, that terrible free kick routine, what the hell was that? You know, we couldn't take a throw in. At times. I was like, there was no movement up front, as in even to come short to pick it up, to go forward. I mean, I really just flabbergasted. I don't know what team. That's why they look like clones, because I was like, what is going on here? Seriously.
It's funny you mentioned that, Rick, because I wrote down here. Let's come on to you, Melvyn, for this. Talk us through this absolute shit show. 30 minutes. I've put here no major inroads from Spurs, so not really a bounce back after the goal. There was we looked like it G'd them up a bit, but not really. 31 minutes. Great save from Vicario from Parrott when he went through. He was just onside. So that would have counted. Great save, I think, with his back leg from Vicario. So that could have been even worse. And then on 35 minutes, Melvyn, is what Ricky was talking about, an absolute mess of a free kick by Spurs after a good run by James Maddison. Wins a free kick. I think he's in perfect position for him to have a go, or Sonny to have a go. And they do whatever they did. What the hell was that? Talk us through what happened there. What were they trying to do?
No idea. I don't know.
Okay, thanks, Melvyn. All right, so
I don't know. You're asking me, Craig. You're asking
right.
me to, but you're asking me to justify that corner kick. It's like,
I know, mate. I know. It was dreadful.
I didn't take it. I would have.
I just wondered if you could know what they were trying to do, because I didn't have a bloody clue.
No, it's like, I didn't take it. Why are you asking me?
I just wondered if you had any thoughts on what the hell they were trying to do with it.
Well, I'll say this. What is our pattern of play? Because I was thinking in the first half and even in the second half, because there's no idea how to break down teams. The only pattern of play is our fullbacks run down the wing, and they either have the ball or they try to run without the ball and drag the opposition fullback with them. Yeah. and it's like when that fails, when we try to attack down the wing and it fails, we just go back, recycle the ball and try to do it from the other side. And it's rinse and repeat. Honestly, people say this, there's no tactics. And it just, what did they work on the entire week? Honestly, what did they work on the entire week?
They had 8 days, didn't they? 8 days.
Yeah, they had some time to train, and who's training them? I know Mason. I know I'm questioning now you because and you don't have answers for these either. It's like, but who's doing the training sessions? Who's teaching them how to attack?
That was obviously something they tried on the training pitch, wasn't it? The free kick going back to, and it just didn't work, did it?
Potentially. But if you remember, and Ricky mentioned this, that season under Conte, we had patterns of play. I mean, we had an idea because he drilled them, these patterns of play. And even in the first season, when he came in mid-season, he drilled them. And we got Champions League football, and he got the team to play his style. And he had a pattern of play, and we had an idea and a philosophy quite quickly. And he's had nearing 2 years now. So it's like, what's his philosophy? What's his pattern of play? And it's like, why do we still struggle to break teams down? You know, is it? And I get back to the same things I said. Is it the quality? Is it we're lacking the quality? Because sometimes I think we do have quality, and sometimes I think we're really, really bang average in certain departments. We just lack the quality. It's not there. The experience is still not there, and we're trying to ask something of these players that don't have it. It's just simple as that. At times, it's simple as that. And do I blame Postecoglou? I don't know, because at the moment, it's like you're not giving me anything. I mean, the Man City game, we should have got something out of. But today, we were nowhere near getting anything out of today. And if we got a draw, we would not have deserved it. If we would have stolen a point. I think if we got a point today, they would have been fuming. They would have thought, oh, they stole a point off us today. And they deserve to get the victory. It's like, how do we move forward from this? If he has another week of training, is 1 week going to solve our offensive problems? No. We still have the same problems we've had in November. We still have the same problems. It's like the players returning from injury hasn't solved anything. Honestly, it just made losing even worse in a way, because now we don't have any excuses.
Melvyn, what did you make of Brennan Johnson's performance today? Because he didn't do that much. And again, defensively, a lot seemed to be coming down his side. 39 minutes, Johnson fires over. And at that point, we'd had no shots on target. And obviously, we know now that we didn't have any shots on target to the 89th minute. But what do you make of Brennan Johnson's performance today?
Johnson's an odd player, because the one thing he knows how to do, he didn't do it today. It's weird because he only knows how to score. And the one thing he does, he didn't do. So it's like when he scores, he doesn't offer anything else. Unless that's the only thing he's offered this season is goals. And yeah, you could say they were tap-ins, but he does have good movement and acceleration, and he's clever in the box and gets in the right positions and does score because he's put up numbers. But when he doesn't do these and we don't provide him the balls to tap them in, he doesn't do anything else. He doesn't offer anything else. He doesn't press. He doesn't win the ball up high. He doesn't hold it up high. He loses it. He doesn't get past defenders. So a lot of things that, I don't know, it's a strange player, Brennan Johnson, because he's young, but he's not young enough where you think, how long you're going to give him until he needs to produce more. We need to see more out of Johnson. I mean, I'm happy at the moment, and I'm a fan of Johnson, of what I think he can do and what his potential is. But at the same time, what we're going to do? Wait 4, 5, 6 years until he comes good? No, you need to produce now, because we're at a stage where we're not going to be a mid-table team forever. We need to produce now. Football's about now. We cannot keep giving these performances from Johnson. Yeah, he's come back from injury and he did score a few goals, but we need more from Johnson. He needs to do more than just tap-ins and and you know what he does well. You know, these late runs in the back post and taps them in, but he needs to do more. I know he keeps also, which is really annoying me lately. He just crosses the ball immediately when he receives it. It's like instead of trying to do something with the ball, it's like he's passing the problem to someone else. It's like, show a bit of bravery when you receive the ball. You know, at times Kulusevski does it well. When he receives the ball, he knows when to hold it and he knows when to pass it immediately. But Johnson just spams the same pass, hoping it will stick. He just thinks if he does it 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times, that one of them is going to go in. And it's not like that, because in football, you need to be clever, because you might only have one chance. I don't want to sound like Eminem, but yeah, you could only, sometimes you can only have one chance.
One opportunity. One opportunity.
Yeah.
But we don't make them.
To seize everything you ever wanted in one moment. Yeah, I get you.
But we don't make any chances. That's the problem. You can't get Solanke on the end of anything. You can't get Johnson on the end of anything. What could they have got on the end of tonight?
So you're bang right, because just before the break, Spurs. Well, if you remember before this, there was absolute pandemonium in the Spurs box. Danso tried to clear. Gray tried to clear. Bergvall puts in an unbelievable block, puts his body on the line. Ball breaks to Tell, who's basically up against their right back, I think it was. And I was so frustrated. I was like, go at him. You're supposed to be quick. You said you're quick. Skin him on the outside. And he stops, stands on the ball, waits for them to get back in. And then they're all set again. It drove me mad. But you're right, Si. But is it too simple to say you should be going at his man? Is Ange not telling you? Just go at your defender.
I don't. Again, I just go back to the point. I don't believe Ange is saying to them that don't go at that defender. I just cannot believe it. That's just counter to everything. King Hoddle said earlier on that the melee that you talk about was like under 12s football with the ball at the back post before we went up. That was just pathetic. But you get. It doesn't matter whether it's whoever it is playing wide. You have to go at the players. You've got to try and beat the man, so that then then you create the chances for the others that are coming in on the other side. But why don't they do it? Well, for me, there can only be one of two things. It's either a lack of confidence, or, as I said earlier, they're not bright enough to work out what Ange is asking them to do. Now, Sonny, for all that he's done for the club, at the moment he's just not producing, and I just can't see that if you're Ange and you're sitting there, you can't see that there's a problem. I don't. Look what happened with Mikey Moore. In the last group game that we have, he created chances by running, by going past people, by taking people on. That is exactly what you need. And going back to chances that we create, when you've got a Dom Solanke, instead of just rolling them across a 6-yard box every time, he's good in the air. Give him a couple of heady chances. Just, I can't remember which one of you said it earlier. Just mix the game up.
Yeah.
But we're just not creating enough. And that's symptomatic. That's symptomatic of the whole game today.
No, you're spot on. But you're talking about creating chances, right? James Maddison tonight, apart from a couple of bits he did. And
did he play?
He was pretty non-existent. I actually thought, because I knew what the team sheet was, but I was kind of doing something else. And then it was in the game. I thought, who's that over there? That's not. And it was James Maddison.
Yeah. Did he do anything? I can't think of anything productive he did. I think he dived on the floor for his usual "I've busted my ankle" free kick moment. And other than that, I can't think of anything that he did. And the first ball that I saw go past players was when Jed Spence got it in the second half and knocked it over the top for Solanke into some space. I just can't remember anybody turning the defence particularly. There was a couple of bits in the first half where Johnson got in almost down the right-hand side. And I remember there was a break that Alkmaar had in the first half. Sonny got the ball, the doggy goes steaming past him outside on the left, and he tried a shot that was never going to go past the 14 players that was in front of him. They break, because a doggy's gone past him on the outside. All we had to do was roll the ball to him, then he could zip it across. It's mind bending that they're not doing what they're being asked to do, and that's down to the players, not anybody else. Down to the players.
Yeah, it's hard to defend that, Rick, and it. You know, the players were put out on the pitch. You thought they should have wanted it tonight, albeit that there's a second leg. But I mean, you know, Tell obviously went off at half time, and Odebear came on. 49 minutes. Bergvall had a shot wide. I thought where we started the second half, we seemed to start quickly and then sort of reverted to type, if you ask me. 53 minutes, great save by Vicario, low to his right. Again, Vicario saving us. And on 62 minutes, Bentancur goes straight through Troy Parrott, picks up a yellow card, which means he'll miss the second leg. So we're without Bentancur for the second leg at White Hart Lane next week. What did you make of Rodrigo Bentancur tonight, Rick?
A mixed bag, bro. Mixed bag. And this is what's been happening with Bentancur. There's moments where he can look, you know, like the guy that's going to do it for us in that position in midfield. And then there's times where the game just it passes him by. If there's a player with pace or trickery that gets by him, then it just seems like we're stupidly open. And it's another unfortunate yellow card incident. You know, Bentancur's missed a lot through injury, yes, but through suspension as well for what he said in the summer, which, you know, okay, that's his punishment. We've got to take that, but it came at the wrong time for us to miss those 7 games. Comes back, gets the another yellow, which ends up makes him miss the next Premier League game when we really needed him. You know, and same's happened tonight. And
how many games has he missed now this season through suspension?
I ain't got
12, something like that, is it?
It's a lot, and you got to, you know, take into account as well. I think it was last year with the ACL as well. So overall, he's missed a lot of football. You know, so you know it's tough on Bentancur, but I do think, like, I do agree with what Si was saying there about Archie Gray. He's almost the one that is mobile enough. Now, for me, Bentancur, I think, is a great guy to bring off the bench to calm the situation or to see the situation out, see the game out, or like to have that bit of experience come off, because I do feel that aura around him. But there have been times when he's gone missing, you know. That's why, like, I'm with Si with chucking Archie Gray at the 6 in the return leg, and hopefully we've got another defender to come back and that can shore up that line, if not both of them. And do you know what? It's all about the response, right? So they come out in the second half, they have a little huddle, they're like, come on, let's go. First 5 minutes, really energetic, really chasing down everything. And then by 55 minutes, literally 10 minutes later, like you said, revert to type, and it wasn't happening. And it was at that point that I put the text in the group chat, Craig. You know, but it was at that point that I'm like, look, man, you've got to switch this over, man. Like, your doggy, he's not getting any joy whatsoever. Spence, bless him, you know, he done well on the right-hand side, but he has had better games for us on the left. He's been more impactful on the left. He confuses defenders on the left. And yes, I'm with you, Si, with the fact that he's got that right foot, but there's something about him on the left where he glides past people, he gets the balls in, he scored from that position. Do you know what I mean? So I'm thinking 55 minutes, switch that over, get your doggy off, you know, stick Porro on because we need some crosses into the box, and we know we get quality crosses from Porro. So chuck him there. Danzo and Gray, this whole swap over. Now, I think that Ange done the swap over to begin with because I think that he's thinking Romero's going to be back like quicker than Van der Ven, and he's going to pair, you know, Romero and Danzo, or just get Danzo prepared for playing in that position because he's going to be the number 3 centre-back at that point in time. So if anybody else is missing, Danzo then comes in. But you can see that Danzo ain't as strong on the left centre-back as he is on the right. And Archie Gray has acquitted himself very well in the left centre-back position. He's become comfortable in it. You know, there's not much that phases him, and he's been able to do that. So tonight, I don't understand why you wouldn't have switched even them two, or if not, bring on a Van der Ven, bring on a Romero, give them some minutes towards the end of the game. But then you've got everybody in a stronger position. You're going forward a bit more solid. You know,
Rick, do you know what? There's something just crossed my mind. I think I'd love to see, it will never happen. I think Spence and Porro could do a job on either flank higher up the pitch.
Yeah.
If they, do you know what I mean? Because they're so good going forward. Spence is obviously a better defender than Porro, you have to say.
Yeah.
But
then interchanging and then working on the right, that could be dynamite if Spence was further up the field. Spence has arguably been our best player for the last month. You know, getting stronger and stronger. He's been the spark. He's always calling for the ball. He's always asking for it. He's like, give it to me, I'll sort it out. He's trying to make things happen all the time. So I just didn't know on the 55 minutes why you wouldn't start making those type of changes. You know, like you could see that Tell, bless him, you know, like he wasn't getting any joy up front. Yeah, I think we've got to, almost as a fan base, call for a bit more game time for Dane, because they're the same age. Yes, you know, Tell has been he played in the Bundesliga and at a higher level, but Dane looks taller, bigger, stronger. Looks like he could hold up the ball. Looks like he could have a bit of physicality about him and do that almost Solanke job that we're asking to do. Do you know what I mean? Because it's just not dropping for Tell right now. Maybe he's the one that comes off the bench. You know, there was just certain things where I was just like, you need to start changing things up. Chuck Odebear on the right, take Johnson off. You know, chuck Mikey Moore on. I wanted Mikey Moore on because the young ones, as I saw, you know, against Elfsborg and, you know, as I saw against Hoffenheim when I went, that they've got a bit of hunger. They've got a bit of drive. They've got a bit of fearlessness about them. They've got a bit of, let me show you, let me prove to you and everybody around you that I'm good enough to play for this team. Do you know what I mean? And there's a lot of drive within those. So I wanted more on the left there. Bring Solanke on up front for Sonny. And you've got a little bit, a change. You know, Sarr, I think coming into the midfield was a good option because I do think there's a really good player in there. Yes, he's been up and down himself, but I think there's a really good player in there. And I think him coming in with his energy as well was the right change there. But like there were things that we could have done in 55, 60 minutes. It frustrated me and it tore me up inside that we waited until, I mean, we had a couple of subs early, but we waited until like 70, 75, whatever it was, until we brought on Solanke and the rest of the boys there. And it just done my nutting, man. It just done my nutting. Like there were things that we could have done today. It wasn't about, like Mel said earlier, man, we haven't seen Ange ball. We haven't seen inverted fullbacks, overlapping runs. We haven't seen all-out attack. Do you know what I mean? Domination in the opposition's box, possession, you know, threatening passes, through balls, you know, shots on target. We haven't seen this, you know, for a little bit, you know, consistently. We see it in flashes, but we haven't seen it consistently for a little bit. And tonight was that night. So for me, it was a mentality thing because it wasn't just an individual error that harmed us tonight. It was a collective team kind of mentality thing where the whole team was flat. And there was no reason. There's no reason for them to be flat like that. There's no reason. You know? No. So yes, there was a bit of a response in that second half, but we needed more. We needed some gung-ho. We needed some aggression. We needed some guts. We needed some fearlessness. We needed to go, do you know what? Let me show you all. Let me show you all. Give me the damn ball. Let me show you. And the only ones that were giving glimpses of that, like you all gentlemen have said already, you know, has been Spence, Bergvall, and Vicario. It's not enough. It's not enough, Tottenham Hotspur. It is not enough. However much I love you and however much I'm going to back you and I'm going to stand beside you every single time. I'll stand beside you every single time. But you got to give us more, man. Not just for ourselves, but for yourselves. You've got to give... Did you see Maddison and Sonny's face on the bench? Did you guys see that as well? Did you see them chatting about it, frustrated? Do you know what? Again, does my nutting. does my nutting, because you both was on the field at that time, and you both could have done something at that, while you was in the position to actually do something. Now you want to come off and complain. Like, show me, boys. Show me. I still believe in you. I can't help but believe in you, and I can't help but believe that the good times are coming. I can't help it. Even when it's slap bang in my face, I can't help it. But come on, boys. This is the moment now, man. You know, stop being an embarrassment to yourselves. That was an embarrassing performance. Arguably our most important game to date. Do you know what I mean? And there was no excuses for that across the board.
I think that's the frustrating thing, and that, you know, it was the biggest game of the season. I know people say the semi-final of the Carabao, but the riches this leads to if you win the competition. You know, we're in the Champions League if you win it, so you know it's certainly our priority now. You would think, but you wouldn't have thought that by watching us play tonight. Of course, as you said, Rick, 71 minutes gone. Sarr, Solanke, and Porro come on for a doggy. Son and Madison. 88 minutes. We have our first shot on target from Odegaard.
88 minutes.
88 minutes. And then 90th minute, Solanke goes off, which we've discussed for Dane Scarlett. I think some people are saying it was his ankle, his knee. I thought he got a knee in the back, to be honest.
He did. Knee in the back.
Hopefully it's just bruised, and hopefully he's back for Sunday. And then 95 minutes, great cross from Porro and Odegaard. Heads over, and we lose 1-0 to AZ, our 18th defeat of the season. Before we move on to discuss the Bournemouth game, this is Ange's presser.
Yeah, no, it wasn't great from us tonight. Pretty much all facets of the game. We didn't really get to grips with any part of the game. We struggled to sort of gain any momentum with the ball. We weren't as aggressive as we needed to be without the ball. It was a tricky surface, but having said that, we kind of knew that from yesterday, and we just didn't really tackle the challenges we had out there in a real sort of positive way, and that just allowed AZ to sort of get into a rhythm, which when you're playing away from home, it's difficult to sort of stem the tide. Oh, look, it's probably a combination of things, but we'll analyse it. We'll have a look at sort of the areas where we struggled with tonight. But it's fair to say that it was nowhere near the level it needs to be. I'm not really sure. I mean, it looks like a knock, but I haven't really seen him. But hopefully, nothing too bad.
Given the stakes, given that it does feel like the season comes down to the competition, how do you feel about the kind of aptitude? The effort?
I don't think it's a matter of effort or attitude. I don't think it's like they're not going out there not trying. It's just, like I said, we didn't really come to grips and sort of have the right sort of mindset to tackle an away fixture in Europe. It's always tough. We obviously conceded the goal, which was just a disappointing set of events. But even after that, we didn't really kind of settle down into the game at all. And like I said, it's a matter of sort of you're going to have to face some pressure when you're playing away from home in Europe, weathering the storm and then getting to grips with it, but we never really did, so that was a disappointing bit.
Given the team struggled to break their lead after an early goal, how much confidence do you have going into next week? You have to break them down next week. That's the
Look, I don't have any doubt about our ability to break them down, but we obviously have to, play a little bit differently than what we did tonight. Not just with the ball, but without the ball too. We've just got to be a lot more aggressive, and what we were tonight, we were just lacking a little bit of, aggressiveness in everything we did. We were a little bit hesitant with the ball. We were hesitant with our pressing, and we can't be that way if we address those things. I'm sure we'll be in a position to at least cause more problems than we did tonight. It's only 1-0, so I guess that's a positive for us that we didn't let the game get away from us. Okay, thank you.
Melvyn, anything to say about Ange's presser there? It's only 1-0, as he says at the end.
Yeah, I mean, Ange is quite transparent when he speaks. I know he mentioned the pitch, which is a stupid comment, but at the same time, he said we didn't have the right mentality to tackle like a European away leg, which I sort of agree with. And which I was asking myself, how do you get the right mentality to tackle a European, away leg? And it's from experience. I just keep saying we don't have experience in this team. Our most experienced players today were Bentancur, who played Champions League for Juventus and was awful for them, by the way. They didn't rate him at all because he used to pick up the ball and lose it on the halfway line and the opposition would score. Solanke has some experience, not a lot. Tel has hardly any. Son is experienced, our most experienced player, but he's getting, his age, he's not the same Heung-min Son. I think Heung-min Son is having the worst season he's had for us since he signed, arguably, you could say. Our players are not experienced. They're not, toughened up by I mentioned this before. We used to have, Lamela, players like that. We used to have players. This week we were talking in the chat. I was looking the furthest we ever got in the Europa League, and one of the ties that stood out to me was losing to Ghent at Wembley Stadium under Pochettino when we had a really good team. And you think a few years later that team got to a Champions League final, but why? Because they were hardened by tough European games. We went to away stadiums and we got victories and we got important draws, but they didn't do it overnight. It took them fucking years to get there. And it took us, I remember under Pochettino's first year in the Champions League, we were embarrassed and when we didn't do anything. We played Bayern Leverkusen and it just, this team reminds me of that. We're not ready for European football. We're not even ready to be in the top 4 at the moment. We're not that team. We're just simple as that. And the mentality, how do you achieve it? Does it stem from the top? Yes. Does it come from experience? Yes. Does it come from what you guys were saying? Winning comes from within you. You don't click your fingers and become a winner. For me, Kulusevski is one of those guys that has it. He's a winner. Kulusevski wants to win and trains to win. And the season showed it. He shows his leadership, the way he speaks, the way his mentality about the game. And I felt if he played, perhaps the game would have maybe a bit different. Maybe not. It's still not an excuse. But we need more like Kulusevski. We need more like Christian Romero. And I'm thinking at the moment, what player is going to come back and make a difference? And I think Romero's the only one that I'm excited or hopefully will make a difference. Because I think Romero is a creative defender. He gets us passing up again. We will still struggle to score, but at least he will offer something different. I don't think you can say he's been poor early in the season, but Christian Romero last season had 6 Premier League goals. He scored against Arsenal, in some important games as well. I know Romero sometimes a loose cannon, but we need, and Postecoglou said after that game, I wish I can bottle whatever Romero has and give it to the other players. We don't have enough players like him, players that hate to lose. And I've said this many, many times. We don't have enough players that hate to lose. We have players that are trying to become winners, but they still need years of experience. And I feel until they go through this process of pain and suffering and getting to Europa League, semi-final or quarter-final, and even arriving to a League Cup semi-final will do them good, because the pain of losing that tie will harden them, will make them tougher players, want them to arrive into that opportunity again. So for me, it's difficult to argue why we should keep Ange. And I see both sides of the coins. I see people saying this manager's not good enough, his tactics not good enough, his methods were good in certain leagues. I see both sides of the coin. I mean, there's lots of bad things you can say about Ange, and I sympathize and I agree with some of them. But at the same time, I just think we don't have the quality at the moment to be in a position where we should sack Ange. We're just not there. I mean, the growth will come from time. Simple as that. If we sack Ange, will we be a better team? Yes, because we will improve, with time, but not because we sack the manager. At the moment, we need to go through this painful part of our rebuild. And I hate to say this word because we've said this many times, and we've said this under Conte, we've said this under Jose. So what's different? I feel the difference is we have youngsters that we can build the spine around. I mean, Pochettino built a team around, the spine that Harry created, or Harry Redknapp started, with Kyle Walker, Danny Rose, and then slowly added to it. And then we had Gareth Bale, who we sold, and we bought in 8 or 9 players, and only 2 of them stuck. So hopefully it doesn't take fucking 8 years for us to rebuild, a Pochettino level squad, which that took 8 years. But hopefully with the right recruitment, we'll get there faster. But I just think we hit a major reset button in this football club, a major reset button. And I keep telling my father this: we had to start from the beginning, because we had to get rid of, Eric. We're still getting rid of the deadwood. We have 8 players on loan. From them, we have to sell 6. So we're still getting rid of, the deadwood that we bought under Conte, under Jose, and we've struggled to bring in youth for a long, long time. When's the last time? Hopefully it's going to be Mikey Moore or perhaps one of the other players. But we need youth players to come through into the club and do what Harry Kane did, what Harry Winks did, even the small contribution. I mean, Harry Winks played in the Champions League final. We need more players to come through the youth academy and contribute to this football club and be a significant contribution. Nothing, we need more. We need more out of this football club. At the moment, it's just we're not getting enough out of the.
I think you're right, Melvyn. But what scares me is I watched a bit of the Champions League this week, and I watched PSG Liverpool last night, and I can. If anybody watched that, it's to see how far behind the likes of PSG we are. I mean, they would have torn us apart last night, but we're not there. So it's Bournemouth next, not PSG, thankfully. But Bournemouth have been doing pretty well themselves this season, of course. But 2 o'clock kickoff at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Sunday. We've got Bournemouth. Some stats there. Tottenham are 13th. Bournemouth are 7th in the league. Who would have said that at the beginning of the season? That those are the positions. Which one would Tottenham be in? Well, I'm sure not many of us would have said 13th. We've got 33 points. Bournemouth 43. Goals scored. Tottenham 53. Bournemouth 45. And sorry, click the wrong one there. And that is the league table. So you can see we've still got a bit of climbing to do if we want to even get anywhere near the European positions. A long way off, haven't we? Right, so just some stats here for you. Bournemouth 300 and Tottenham 299. And the 2 sides that recorded the most pressures, resulting in a turnover in the final third in the Premier League this season. Only Crystal Palace minus 7.1 have underperformed their non-penalty XG figure by more than Bournemouth minus 5.4 in the Premier League this season. 44.4 XG, 39 goals. The Cherries are unbeaten in their last 10 league matches. Wow. When having a higher non-penalty XG figure than their opponent, won 7, drawn 3, but have lost their last 3 when having a lower figure. I'm not honestly sure what all that means. Tottenham have handed more minutes to teenagers than any other team in the Premier League this season, which leads on from what Melvyn was saying. It's 2,582 minutes, while the 57 appearances they've given to teens this season is their second most, behind the 93-94 campaign with 82 appearances. Bournemouth had lost 3 of their last 4 Premier League games, 1-1, as many as they had in their previous 18, won 10, drawn 5. They've lost their last 2 league games against Wolves and Brighton, last losing 3 in a row in May 2024. Only Brentford's GTEC Community Stadium at 56 has seen more Premier League goals in 24-25 than the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, where we've seen 52, 28 for us against 24. Despite Spurs averaging 0.8 goals across their 4 home games in 2025 compared to 2.5 in their first 10 of this season. Tottenham have lost 7 Premier League home games this season. It's their joint most in a 38-game season in the competition, at level with 96-97. What an era that was, by the way. While only in 93-94 have they lost more, which I think was the... what season did Klinsmann come? Did he come in 94, didn't he? Rick, you'd know the answer to that.
Yep. That's a guess.
So we can't blame Jurgen for that. Following their threw you right under the bus here, didn't I? Following their 1-0 win at the Vitality Stadium in December, Bournemouth are looking to compete their first ever league double over Spurs. So that's something we're hoping we avoid. And the final one here, Tottenham have won 6 of their 7 Premier League home games against Bournemouth, with the exception being a 3-2 loss in April 2023. A load of stats there, Si.
Yeah.
Bottom line, what can we do? Can we beat Bournemouth? Should we beat Bournemouth? Are we going to beat Bournemouth? Give me a score prediction.
Right, let me start off. I'm going up for the game. I'm coming up for this one. So I'm hoping for a win. I'm also going to the Alkmaar game next week as well. Can we win the game? Yes. Will we win the game if we play like we did today? Not a cat in hell's chance. I always watch Spurs with hope because, like most of us will have appreciated over the years, you never know what Tottenham you're going to get. No idea what Tottenham you're going to get. We're capable of doing it. Will we? I probably think before today I was thinking of a draw, if I'm honest. That was going to be my score. My prediction would have been a 1-1 draw. There's a lot of negativity around tonight. I get that, but I was just thinking about it. If we go into next week's game with, I think you play Romero and Van der Ven shit or bust in that game because you got to win. Yeah, and you play Archie Gray number 6 because Bentancur's out. And with a bit of luck, Kulu's back. Well, I think we could win that game. I'm not, it's not past us or beyond us to be able to do that. But the one thing that's the constant theme of tonight, if we don't play with aggression, we don't play with heart, if we're passive, it doesn't matter who we play. We haven't got a cat in hell's chance because, I've seen people say about Paris last night. The only reason Liverpool stuck in there was because they played with heart. They played with passion. They were dogged. They, even when their backs were against the wall, they still came up with a goal when they needed it. And that goes back to Melvyn's point that they've got the experience in their squad to do it. So we've got higher than even chance, in my opinion, of winning that next week. 2-0, 3-1. I think we're capable of doing it. And I'm hoping I'm going to be there to cheer us on. But I think for the weekend, probably a draw. But it depends the reaction that Ange gets from those players tonight. He should be in training tomorrow and the next day. Just, excuse my language, throwing fucks around and putting boots up backsides and saying this is not good enough. And for me, I think Ricky said it and other people have said it. If Son, you can't do it or you can't raise yourself to do it, then play more, play Odebear, play whoever, and say to the guys, right, here's your chance on Sunday, free pass. If you play well enough, I'll give you another run on Thursday. Let them have a go at the weekend against Bournemouth because you were going through the stats there, Craig. We haven't got a cat in hell's chance of making Europe through league. Forget it. It's gone. We gave up that opportunity probably 2 months ago. So let's just reconcile ourselves with that. So use the rest of this season to blood and experience youngsters, in my opinion. Let's look to the future. Let's get the game minutes into the young players that we've got coming through, and let's let what we consider to be our best team win the Europa League. And you know, for want of a better phrase, fuck the league, because we're not going to get anywhere with it anyway. Get blood those youngsters, let them play Archie Gray in his number 6 role. Let's have him there. Let's see what he can do, not just for one game. Give him 8 games in a row. And you know what? If he's anything like the rest of his season this year, he'll absolutely fly, won't he? He will fly. And then we've set ourselves up for the next 5 years until Real Madrid come knocking.
Well, let's hope that he gets a chance, or Archie Gray gets a chance, to because Bentancur's obviously missing out the next leg, so you never know, he might get a shot in that number 6 role. Rick, where do you think or how do you see the Bournemouth game going Sunday, and give us a score prediction?
You know, I think the one thing that I'm drawing to, which is close to a positive, is that if Van Ven and Romero didn't play tonight, then surely they've got to at least start and play 60 minutes against Bournemouth. Surely, right? So you can't. I mean, I suppose you can if you're desperate, but you can't just chuck Van Ven and Romero into arguably now the most important game of the season against AZ. You know, because of tonight's result, you've got to work them in. You've got to give them enough minutes so that they can rely on their bodies and do what they need to do in the most important game. And even then it's risky because, you know, we're dealing with games and recovery. So the positive that I will take is that Romero and Van der Ven and probably Solanke, depending on what this knock is, would have to get some game time in their legs, if not start and be taken off. So it could be a positive result. Bournemouth have been doing really, really well. They've got some really pacey players. They've been playing good football. You know, they've done really good. You know, it's been a bit rocky for them, but really good, arguably. And with the chances that we're giving up, they're going to have a couple. It's about whether our boys can stand up to it and actually put our impression on the match. We haven't been able to put Tottenham, Ange Ball, and the way that we want to be looked at and respected on the field consistently for a very long time. So it's easy to poke holes and it's easy to ridicule because, you know, 2 games good, 3 games bad. What's that about? You know? And arguably you can't argue against it. So you need to put down something against Bournemouth, and you need to show us a little something. But I'm with Si in the sense that nothing's really going to be achieved through the league, and we have to put our eggs all in the Europa League to go and win that for next season, but also for this season to finish at least brightly. We can't get to this stage, bring all of these players out of the medical centre and nearly on the field, and then just be out of everything and just be, you know, looking at the league. Come on, please. I know it's been a cursed season, but please, that can't be right, you know? So these boys have got a real opportunity, you know. Tonight, when they talk about wake-up call, I think they should look at it and in the sense of that's how easy they can go out of this competition, and that's how easy their season can end in March, and just play for the league, knowing that you're not really going to get close to anything to qualify for anything or to say it's marginally a successful season. So, you know, take that fear tonight. Take that slap in the face tonight. It's not a wake-up call, it's a slap in the face. Yeah. And it's about what you do now. It's about your reaction. So, Bournemouth, turn up. I'm going to say, as always, that this is where I am delusional Tottenham Hotspur fan, but I don't care. I'll go 2-1 Tottenham. I don't care, Si. I'll say
2-1 Tottenham.
No, love it.
I hate this question, so I just stand by it now. Do you know what I mean? Don't care. So I'll say
Nice
2-1 Tottenham, and I'll say, go. It'll be a performance in which we'll be a little bit more encouraged going into the AZ finale. Let's say.
Let's hope so. Let's hope so, mate. Let's hope so. And finally, Melvyn, give us a score prediction for Bournemouth, and how do you see the game going?
Prediction. I'll say 2-1 as well, Spurs. To be honest, when you were discussing Bournemouth, I was just thinking about the AZ game, the home tie. And honestly, I was going on the ticket exchange, and there were quite a few tickets available for that game, which is in a way disappointing because you have to think we really need to generate a good atmosphere for that game. And when you think, I remember when we were at Wembley and we got knocked out of the Champions League and we played in the Europa League. We played a game at Wembley and we sold out the entire stadium, and we had opposition fans tweeting, fair play to Spurs. They sold out Wembley for Europa League game. And now we're back home at White Hart Lane, and there are loads of tickets available for that game still on the exchange. And it just makes me sad to think this is a game that's really important for our season, and there has to be a really good atmosphere. We lost, the fortress that White Hart Lane was. Our stadium is not, especially this season. The home atmosphere has been poor. Yes, the results don't help, but I just think that game is so important for us this season. Realistically, are we going to win? We're capable at times. We can do it, but I just think we've been through this before, where we go into these big games and we just don't get it over the line for some reason. Like Sai said, I couldn't give a shit about Bournemouth. I know there's a possibility of us in a week be like, oh, we need to improve the league now since we're out of the League Cup. Out of the Europa League. We have to look at the league again. So we could be in a position where we say, we have to look at the league again. But there's a big enough squad where, like the City game, we put up a line, we put up a lineup strong enough to compete against Bournemouth. If he plays Odegaard, I would play Odegaard. I wouldn't play Son personally for that game. I would play Romero for sure. Give him 60 minutes. You have 3 fullbacks which he can rotate now. 3 very good options. You can potentially try to play Archie Gray centre mid. You could try, but I don't know why he would do that. He's not done it all season. He's not going to throw an 18-year-old in midfield. He's already thrown him in every single position he could so far. I don't think he's going to do that to him in the Premier League. Solanke, hopefully, is just a knock, and he'll be back. That's important for him to get more minutes. Will he play in Dane Scarlett? Probably not. Kulusevski's not going to be back. Will Kulusevski be back for the AZ game?
No, not till after the international break, apparently.
Yeah, that's a real shame because Kulusevski's been, one of our brightest sparks this season. Is he going to play Spence? Is he going to rest him? We don't know. There's lots of uncertainties. What I'm certain of from time to time is Tottenham will have games where we win, but most of the time they just end up disappointing me. It's just the way it is at the moment, and sadly I just think I'm afraid of the AZ game. Like I said, I don't give a shit about Bournemouth. The season is resting on the Europa League. If we can somehow, get into the next leg, we'll take it game by game. But that's the most important game for me this season. It's resting on one game. It would make the season, more tolerable. It will make I love a cup run, honestly. The Champions League season where we got to the final, I know we didn't win it, but that was one of the most magical seasons I've ever experienced in my life. And if we can do that again, in the Europa League, I would love to get to a semi-final, final, potentially even win it. But for me, this is the most important competition, and we need to do everything we can to try to win it. And the mentality shown today wasn't this what I
No.
expected.
Not
I was
good enough.
buzzing. We were talking this morning, and you know, the guys from the podcast, we were all saying, you know, we're confident today, we're excited. I was buzzing. That's the first thing. You know, when I wake up, I think, oh, it's Spurs day today. We're gonna play. You know, I usually couldn't give a shit about work. I'm just focusing on the game, and today, very, very, very disappointing in a lot of aspects. So for the Bournemouth game, hopefully we get something out of it. But for me, the Europa League is the one thing I'm focusing on.
Let's hope so, mate. Well, Melvyn, thanks for coming back on. Great to have you on as always. Where can people find you on social media?
There's my name written there if you want to follow me. I googled you, Sai. I don't know your name, but some fox came up. I don't know if you're on social. I don't know if you're on social media, because I've listened to you quite a few times, and I'm a fan of yours, obviously, because you speak quite well, and obviously I've known Ricky for a long time. If you want to follow me, you can. I'm quite active on Twitter and Instagram. If you're a Spurs fan, I usually follow back. So yeah, if you want to follow me,
on there. I will find you on there.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks,
I will
Melvyn.
track you down.
And Simon, great lead in there again. Where can people find you on social media?
Yeah, so on social media, on X, I'm on CC2020Co. You can find me on there. Exactly. Or find me via Melvyn. So you can pick me up on the socials there. If anyone wants to come and say hello at the game on Sunday or Thursday, I shall be lurking around the south stand, so please come and say hello. We'll try and catch up with Chris and James as well for a bit of a sing-song. That's always going to be fun, and I'm looking forward to a draw and a win, because that's what sorry, Ricky, I can't say that we're going to win on Sunday. a draw with the youngsters, a win on Thursday, and then we'll all be back on smiling, and we'll all be happy.
And the world will be a better place. Absolutely. Well, absolutely. Thanks for coming on. You've been a great guest.
Thanks for having me again. I appreciate it.
No problem at all. And Mr. Norwood, where can people find you on social media?
You guys know where you can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter. You can find me at Ricky J Norwood. On Instagram, it's official Ricky Norwood with the little blue tick. But I'm just really thankful that Melvyn didn't Google Sam Fox instead of Simon Fox, because who's a friend, by the way. But yeah, like he would have found a different result. Do you know what I mean?
It's probably a dome like that.
Nah, man. Look, it's been a terrible game, but a really good pod, and great to be on with you, gents, tonight. And you know, look, we're gonna get through it. And you know, like Melvyn was talking about, kind of experiences and going through things and feeling the pain. Well, we've gone through a lot of that the last 2.5 months. Do you know what I mean? 3 months. We've gone through a lot of that. We've gone through a lot of adversity. We've got to our semi-final, you know, and we've lost that. You know, we went to an FA Cup game a couple of days later. We lost that. You know, they've felt pain, and you could see that. You could see that even in their reaction to the following next game, that there was a hangover of that disappointment. So tonight you got slapped in your face. Tonight everybody got shown how easy it is that glory can be taken away. But it's up to you to go and grab it. It's up to you to run towards it. You can't wait. You've got to go towards it. You've got to see it and say that it's yours, and you've got to show everybody why it's yours. So it's up to Tottenham. It's up to Tottenham, and I believe in my team. Even though I am a little bit nutty and a bit crazy, do you know what I mean? They make me go crazy, you know, but I just believe in my team. And if we ain't got the belief, if we ain't got hope, then what do we have? So come on, Tottenham. Time to wake up. Feel those slaps. Don't feel sorry for yourself because you got a slap. Feel them. Know why you got the slap. Time to stand up and time to show us what you're all about.
You've got.
Can I say one last thing, Craig? By the way, there's a winner. No, there's a winner that we've all glossed over tonight, and an absolute winner wins hands down. Needs commendation, and that's Chris, because he didn't have to do this bloody show after that awful performance. So he was a winner, wasn't he?
He did apologise me.
got away with it.
He sent me a voice note saying,
Oh,
really
bless
sorry
him.
that you've had to deal with another loss in Europe. But look, as Ricky said, you've got to have a dream. If you don't have a dream,
indeed.
you'll never have a dream come true.
The famous words of Captain Sensible now.
Yeah, I thought it was Rodney
Hero.
Trotty, but there you go.
Ty, we nearly had Gary Maloney on with us. That would have been worse.
Yeah.
Gary would have called everyone shit. And just like,
oh yeah, Gary would have done. Yeah, right. Okay,
fuming, Gary.
Yeah,
he would have been. He was. Right, guys. Thanks so much for coming back on. It's been a great chat, bit cathartic. So yeah, always good to talk. Win, lose or draw. Obviously,
what about
better
the
when we
award,
win.
Craig? The award.
The award. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. And as I say, it's very, very new news, but we've been shortlisted for this wonderful FIVO Sport Industry Awards 2025 up against some really big hitters. But yeah, more on that to come when we find out a bit more about it, because we only got the news literally a few hours ago, which is great. Good news. I thought it was going to be a good news day. Unfortunately, Spurs let us down as always. But as I say, you know, these things don't happen all the time. It doesn't rain every day, is my favourite saying. And so please don't have nightmares. Do sleep well. Sorry about Tottenham letting us down again. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Come on, you Spurs.